In the dimly lit corridors of Hollywood's past, a haunting tale unfolds. 35 years ago, a child star's dazzling potential was abruptly extinguished by a chilling act of violence. In a shocking 1988 murder-suicide, a once promising future was shattered by a father's sinister intentions. At only 10 years old, Judith Barsi was already on track for a promising Hollywood career, after having appeared as Thea Brody in 1987's Jaws: The Revenge. Barsi's star continued to rise as she voiced Ducky in the childhood favorite film The Land Before Time and Anne-Marie in All Dogs Go to Heaven, each directed by esteemed animator Don Bluth. One of the original 5 main characters in The Land Before Time that joined Littlefoot on this journey. Ducky was one of the more positive and outgoing characters in the film and was noted for her cheerful personality and catchphrase of yup yup yup. Unfortunately, both of those films would be released posthumously following the death of child starlet and her mother Maria Barsi at the hands of her father Joseph on July 25, 1988. On July 28, 1988, 3 bodies were found burned at the Barsi's home in Canoga Park, California. Each had gunshot wounds, and authorities concluded that Joseph shot his daughter and his wife, poured gasoline on their bodies. Later, he shot himself in the family garage. Authorities also believe that Joseph had killed his wife and daughter days before the discovery of all 3 bodies, likely on July 25, 1988. What he did in between is still a mystery. According to an LA Times interview with Ruth Hansen, Judith's agent, when Judith missed an appointment on the 25th, Hansen said she inquired after her by phone and spoke to Joseph, who said a car had taken Judith and her mother to San Diego. The next day, Hansen spoke to Joseph again, and he said he planned to move out of the house but was sticking around to say goodbye to Judith. Both Barsi and her mother had likely already been deceased for over a day. Judith had been showing signs of emotional abuse leading up to her murder, according to the LA Times, which reported that she had plucked off her eyelashes as well as her cat's whiskers as a response to a stressful home life. Hansen, Judith's agent, told the Times that she had witnessed Judith burst into tears at an audition and suggested that Maria take her to a psychologist who contacted Children's Services about accusations of emotional abuse by Judith's father. A friend of Joseph's reportedly told the LA Times that Joseph told him 500 times he was gonna kill his wife, and when he pressed Joseph on what would happen to Judith if he carried out those threats, Joseph said, "I gotta kill her too." The case was investigated by Child Protective Services, who ultimately dropped the case at Maria's request after she reportedly promised to leave Joseph. She'd rented an apartment in Panorama City and would spend days there with Judith before coming home at night, but reportedly hesitated to leave Joseph and move permanently before the fatal encounter. A review was launched in November of 1988 of Children's Services' handling of Judith's death, with some arguing that further intervention might have prevented the killings. Maria Barsi had gone to Child Protective Services multiple times, but since she was reluctant to press charges, and the reports were almost always related to emotional abuse instead of physical abuse, the case was never pursued. A detective from the Los Angeles Police Department passed the blame on the social welfare system, claiming it was too difficult to follow through on accounts of emotional abuse. How do we protect someone from threats? We really honestly can't, the detective said. I could say I'm gonna kill you, I have the right, because we have a free society to say that. Judith Barsi's death wasn't just tragic because the world was robbed of a young talented star, it's also tragic because it was preventable and because dozens of people sat by and let it happen. If you found today's video informative, please show your support by giving us a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel, and turning on notifications for future updates. We would love to hear your thoughts about the tragic story of Judith Barsi, the young girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time. Let us know your opinions and any questions you may have in the comment section below. Your engagement is valuable to us.